Hello, I'm Philip Stoughton. I'm here at Apex 2020 and I'm joined by Mike Konrad from Aqueous, but also Mike Konrad, broadcaster, entrepreneur, and now author. So what I wanted to talk to you about, just as a little bit of a diversion, is what I'm referring to as your twilight career. You've built a very successful business. As you say, your staff now pay you to stay away. You have 3 podcasts and you've been working on a book. So it sounds like you're equally busy, but a different direction.
Yeah, I like to be an ambassador of the technology, of reliability. I've been in this industry for, I think I figured out it was 35 years or something like that. I started when I was 24 and I'm about to be 60. So I love running a company. I have a lot of passion for that. And sometimes the young kids, so to speak, I hope they don't watch this, really do a good job. They have a different perspective. They're much more detail oriented, and I like to talk, as we both have that curse, right? So I enjoy producing workshops and speaking at symposiums and conferences like this. I started a podcast a little over a year ago called Reliability Matters, which you've been my guest on, and you graciously allow us to record some here, which we appreciate. And I love asking questions. I am still learning. I think my dad, God rest his soul, had an expression that the more you learn, the stupider you get.
It's fascinating because my dad's was always, you've got 2 ears and 1 mouth, use them in that proportion.
Exactly.
So listen more than you speak.
It totally makes sense. So I interview people from other parts of our industry, reflow and board fab and failure analysis and thermal management and all that stuff that I know a little bit about but not a lot about. So I ask questions that I want to know, and apparently my audience also has those questions, right? So a lot of people don't like to ask questions because they don't want to appear ignorant, and I'm totally happy to be ignorant and ask those questions, and so I enjoy that, and I learn as a result. And then when I bring in another guest, I know a little bit more about something, and then I'm able to ask other questions, and then I know a little bit more, and then I kind of learn what questions to ask. So I enjoy that.
And you build up that general knowledge, and you've learned a lot as an entrepreneur as well as someone that started a business. And we had a little bit of this discussion over dinner on Monday evening, but what I absolutely resonated with me was the person that's the creator and the person that really drives that initial stage of the business isn't necessarily the person that's ideal to maintain that business or maybe take it to the point of acquisition or, to shift gear. And that's kind of where you're going with your book, but with your own experience.
Yeah, we learn the hard way. Us entrepreneurs learn the hard way that we have the ability to start something, to create something out of nothing, to build a business out of a garage, and therefore we think that we're, no one can defeat us, and because against all odds, and there are sizable odds when you start a business, we survive. So we think that we're pretty cool and we're pretty smart, and many entrepreneurs, including me, suffered from that, and you kind of have to learn as an entrepreneur when it's time to get out of your own way and bring in talent that can handle the fine details, because people like me who are entrepreneurial, we are conceptual people. We have all these ideas, we light all these fires, and then we just walk away to the next one, right? And someone has to organize it and pick up the pieces and things like that. And what I've learned is the skills that get you from A to B will kill you from B to C. They are polar opposite. And the B to C skills can't start a business, but the A to B skills can't sustain a business for too much longer. So, when you look at entrepreneurs, we are the worst people to assess risk. If we look at the government's database on businesses, and we know that 2/3 of all businesses fail within 10 years, and 50% fail within a year, or to 5. So it's a really not a good value. That's why banks are smart. They don't loan to new businesses. Venture capitalists will, but they take your company. But you can't get a loan on a new business because the underwriters know it's too scary. We look at the same risks and go, looks fine, right?
Looks good to me.
Looks good to me, right? So we are poor assessors of risk, which is great, because I think to start a business from scratch, for most people, you need to be ignorant.
Yeah.
You need to be naive.
Yeah.
You'd have to have a certain amount of arrogance and ego
Yeah.
to think that you can do this when others couldn't.
Yeah.
And those are all the characteristics that can get a business off the ground, but they are certainly not the characteristics that can carry a business. So the idea of the book, which is called Shift, is to learn how to shift to another skill, or be like Richard Branson. Sir Richard Branson, starts businesses. He doesn't run any of them. He's the face. He's the ambassador. He's the cool guy. I am no Richard Branson, but you either have a choice of being like him and getting out of the way, or learning new skills. And I'd like to think I've learned some new skills, which is why I'm now smart enough to know I don't have all the skills required to take it to the next level. So it takes both. It takes people like me, and it takes people who can actually get stuff done.
Yeah, and it's that bold and fearless thing that gets you through the early stages, but can get in the way later. Have you had a chance to share that with people that are perhaps starting out on their entrepreneurial journey? I see you as the kind of guy that would make a really good mentor, particularly in the startup environment.
Yeah, I used to work with CEO peer groups. Within CEO, I was a member of a particular CEO peer group, and I ended up leaving. They're great groups. They provide a lot of valuable information for people starting up businesses. The problem is they're all pushing growth. You got to sell more. You got to be bigger, more cash flow, more cash flow, more cash flow. But usually bigger and cash flow are opposite. One causes the lack of the other. So I have spoken within my peer group as I started just realizing that bigger is not necessarily better. Sometimes no is more profitable than yes. All those things you learn. And there was a lot of pushback on those, because they're still on the mindset of you just keep growing your way to success. So I have spoken with, I'm involved with one of our local universities, and they always ask me to come and speak, and not so much speak, but sit down. It's like have lunch with an entrepreneur. And it's like speed dating. The entrepreneurs change tables, and we get to hear pitches from students, which I absolutely love. And they're in the former mindset that I had. They're in the entrepreneurial mindset, so they don't really want to hear about caution and risk management and all this. They want to be the next big Steve Jobs, Richard Branson, whatever. So I have to promote their A to B skills, because they're going to need it, right? And then I have to just prepare them for, start learning other skills also. And sometimes they don't want to hear it. I didn't want to hear it. I don't think I would have listened to me, But so I try to come across supporting both, like
But it's
throw everything in, go all in. You wouldn't do that 20 years in, but you can certainly do it when you have nothing to lose. Now's the time.
Yeah, and it's I've done something similar with Plug and Play when I was living in Guadalajara, and you just get so much energy and joy from working with these people that are starting that journey, because they are full of ideas, they are full of ambition, they're full of energy. They're prepared to put everything in, and that's really exciting.
Every once in a while, one of the kids will, I'm at a table with 10 students and about to graduate, and they all have pretty novel ideas. And every once in a while, you get an idea that just like, oh no. And I don't want to, it's like looking at a picture of an ugly baby. You don't want to go, that baby's ugly. You want to say something nice. Positive, right? So I will usually, come back with, it's always good to have more than one idea, right? Which is my way of saying your baby's ugly, right? The idea is ugly. So, but there's there's a lot of good ideas out there. And I can see the future of entrepreneurship in these kids. And this particular university doesn't just teach business, which is valuable, but they teach they teach entrepreneurship. They, because a business school normally doesn't teach you how to get a loan, or how to make a business plan, but no bank will read it. They don't really tell you what to expect. They're going to tell you you're not going to have any money and all that stuff. So, and banks won't touch you, and creditors will want their money. They won't listen to your excuses. They don't listen to that stuff.
No. And it's a whole new set of skills that they're learning, and it's great that universities do that, and they promote that free thinking and the idea that failure is not the end of the world, and you can learn from it. So that's great. Looking forward to seeing the book when it comes out.
Thank you.
Don't keep it under wraps for too long, and look forward to chatting soon.